do reckon it's 5 seconds. Sounds good.
Humdinger. I haven't heard that word in a while.
I love that word.
Humdinger.
Hey guys, welcome to our weekly show, 8 o'clock every Wednesday. We have had, the last 3 shows have been really, really amazing. We've had some amazing guests, and tonight is also an amazing guest, which we're really, really excited about. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for joining us. All right, let's get started. Welcome. One day, Nat, one day we'll get that right.
One day we'll get it sorted.
Yeah. I'm so excited tonight because we have an amazing guest. We have Amanda Betts, and it's going to be so exciting to have her. I've wanted to have her for a while. This is so crazy. We're going to introduce her soon.
You might be actually wondering why we're looking so damn awesome, I have to say.
I know.
This isn't actually mine. I know you guys might be thinking that I look so awesome in it, that it is mine, but it's actually Amanda. I asked her specifically if she could bring along tonight some of her work, and just it's easier to explain some stuff, I think, when you've got some stuff. So, P, another week's gone by. I can't believe how fast this year's going. Actually, how's your week been?
Oh my God, it's been so crazy, so crazy. If you have been following there's my camera. There's so many cameras in our studio, it's hard to keep track, but I'm the red love heart. It's been so crazy this week. If you have been following my journey, you might have seen my video where I was jumping off a wharf, which was really scary. It looks really cool, but I have to say it was really scary. And at the very end, I found out that I'm going to South America. So it's kind of exciting. I will be traveling with Viva Expeditions, and we'll be going over on a group tour for pretty much a month. So can you believe it, Nat?
Well, frickin' I can, because you're like the luckiest person in town. Also, you always have this, I'm going to this and that. And actually, I saw the video of you, P, jumping off the wharf, and I have to say, you didn't just go do I've got like a little baby platform. You went and stood on the top of the frickin' railing, man, and then jumped into the rip, the O-real rip, and I was like,
I know, and I didn't actually know, to be honest, I didn't actually know that there was a rip there, so, I had no idea, so it was quite funny. I was like, no, I've got to jump from the top. It's all about Project 42, about doing things that scare you, and I was kind of really scared. You can't really tell, but I was standing there, and actually I had my son with me in the background. He was videoing me, and he was just like, hurry up, Mum, jump already, hurry up, Mum. And I was like, oh my God, they're watching, I've got to jump. And then I jumped, and actually the rip just swept me away, and I had this panic moment of I am going to die, and it's going to be recorded. So this is the evidence.
Your lasting legacy.
I totally freaked out, but it's really cool because I really wanted to jump again afterwards, but I knew I had to get the challenge done. But the rip takes you around under the bridge, and you can climb back up. So I was like, this is going to be so cool in summer. I'm so doing it again.
Well, I'm pleased you didn't drown, because we were able to. Pauline and I went away with 3 other babes in biz. We went on a work retreat, and we actually go away on these work retreats and get heaps done. And the trick is to go away with like-minded people.
Yeah.
So, of course, each mealtime we do it together, and that's when we get to chinwag, chew the fat, maybe do some brainstorming around stuff for each other, but it's pretty much head down, butt up. Is that right? Head down, yep.
Bum up. Yeah,
I always have to do it the wrong way.
I mean,
we're getting heaps of work done, so it was cool to go away with you and Christine and Wick and Amy. We had such a good time.
Yeah, it was really good, and we did get lots done. I almost feel like Monday I was absolutely exhausted. I was like, I just can't work anymore. But I love it. I think every business owner should take the time to really go out and work on their business, because so many times we are doing the doing and not actually looking at the big picture stuff. And what I loved about this particular weekend was I got to really assess quite a few things that were bugging me, and So I spent a long time trying to work those through, and it just made my week so much better. Like, I was into work on Monday, had a very clear focus of what I was trying to achieve, and I'm totally stoked about it.
It's actually a really cool point, P. So what I found is we're in this huge online world, right? Everything's online, online. And so part of the component to our show was to be able to bring in guests live, because I'm such a people person.
You are.
And so, when you've got to work by yourself, and that's why I've taken myself into an office, that's why I love doing workshops. So I just wanted to let you guys know, so I haven't done a workshop for like 6 months, but I've got one coming up 5th of May, Saturday 5th of May. There's 3 spots left to work with me for a full day, and 6 other women. So, in the offices in Orewa. So if you want to know more about that, drop me a PM later, and it'll be really cool to see you guys, because people love that, just in person, and someone talking them through it, and the intonation of a voice is so different when you're with someone. So I want to bring the people back. You know what I mean? Like the in-person stuff.
Oh, I think
that's what we love.
It's totally important. It's definitely important. So
totes, bro.
Totes. So what else have you been up to this week?
Okay, so you know how you're always showing off, and you're like, I'm going to like South America.
I only just did that today. I don't know why you're making a big deal out of it.
No, but you know how like you always seem to be like going away.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I don't. So
let's not talk about you. Let's talk about me again.
No,
I've got something really. No.
I just. So we're talking about like leaving the ladder down. There's, when I first started out in business, and actually I think that's how I met you, Amanda, was through Natalie the Welsh, who had in-person networking events, and I love that. There's an incredible woman in New Zealand, and there are incredible women in New Zealand who leave the ladder down. So once they've had an amazing experience, they will leave the ladder down, because here's the thing. As you make your way up the top, if you're a bitch, you're going to hit the same people going down. So it's something that I've always remembered. And so a beautiful Christine Sheehy had the opportunity to go to Tahiti last year. She was then asked to put forward some women, and they picked me.
Yeah, I love that.
So I'm off to Tahiti in October as a guest speaker in a women's forum, which just blows my mind.
Yeah.
But then gives me the opportunity to then leave the ladder down
for someone else.
That's right. I think it's really, really cool, and a lot of business can't happen without that relationship building.
That's right.
I
think it's important as well, just to, remember the people around you as well, and give opportunities to your friends in business, because business as a woman as well can be so hard and so lonely, especially the online world. Yeah. And we're moving into winter now, so even today was
cold.
Terrible, and I was like, it was really hard to work today. I felt, when the weather changes, I don't know if you guys are watching the show. I know we've got so many people watching right now. Tell us how you felt working today. Were you like me, rugged up?
You were pretty cold today.
I was pretty cold, and I thought maybe I might be sick. And of course, you should never always say that you're sick on social media. And of course, I broke my own rules and said I was sick. But I'm not sick. It was just the change of the weather, and just getting used to the weather changing can make things difficult.
Yeah.
And the storm last night. I mean, who slept last night? I didn't sleep.
Auckland does. What was that about?
Yeah, like half of my roof came off on my patio. Glass broke.
Yeah, that's pretty full on.
A tree came down. It was pretty crazy.
Tonight's show is going to be really exciting, because we're kind of big personalities, and
our guest
is pretty freaking powerhousey too.
Yeah, powerhouse.
But what I really dig about Amanda, but P's going to introduce her properly soon, is just that you need to have women like Amanda to help you stand up and be in your own values. And so when you hear other people, this is really bad, putting their balls to the wall and just go, you know what, I'm going to stand here and talk about what I really feel, even if it's not mainstream and it's slightly controversial, but you're still, because you believe in it so much, you'll stand there. And so it's people like you who help people like me step into those spaces. So.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's true. You need leaders like you to help others step into it. Anyway,
I don't know. Really cool. I don't know how I can do an intro after that. I mean, seriously,
I'm blushing. I've got like some blush happening.
Yeah.
You are.
Look. I mean, I'm just gonna say. One day I'll get this right, guys. Seriously. I'm just gonna say. Look, I met Amanda. Yeah, actually, probably at the Go-To Girl where I pulled you out, right? That was when we officially met.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think we've been friends on Facebook and we had connecting friends, right? And it's kind of embarrassing for me to admit
tell us.
and tell you about the situation that happened. You know, when you're up on stage and you're speaking, you look upon the crowd, and Amanda has quite a good stare on her, and she was right in front of me, and I loved her story. So I had researched Amanda. A lot of people had been telling me about her that we need to connect. You know, you would love each other. You guys need to connect, but we hadn't managed to do it. And so I had researched her, knowing that she was going to be there. Not really. I had just been researching her and checking out her story and fell in love with her story. Bit of a stalker moment, yeah. So here I am telling my story and teaching people about how to do a bit more social media. And so, of course, when you're looking, there's this person staring at you and you just focus. And I was focusing on Amanda, and of course I pulled her out and I was like, well, let's just take Amanda for example. You know, and now I'm quite horrified because I kept picking on her, but I didn't mean to pick on you.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, you thought it was cool. Thank God, because I could have gone badly. But I just loved your story, your energy, and I just knew that, you know, if you would just bring that out on social media, I knew things would fly for you. And the way that you're passionate about things, and I felt like that's why I wanted you to come on the show, because it's so hard to have creative people in business. That's just it's a hard thing to navigate. Like I was brought up, and, you know, being a photographer and artist, well, you'll never make money. That's what you were constantly told. And then here we are, you know, only a few years later, and being creative is how we can make money. It's totally changed, and you don't have to be in a suit making money. You know, you can be creative, and that's why I thought it was important to have you on the show. So welcome. That was a long
thank
intro.
you so much. That's an awesome intro. I'm happy.
Yeah, so do you want to tell us a little bit about your backstory? Because it's really interesting.
How long you got?
Yeah, just quickly.
You know I'm famous for it.
Yeah, just quickly. You know, just how you've progressed to Heartspeak. That's really what I want to quickly go into.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, thank you so much, you guys, for having me, because I sort of feel like quite often in business and at these networking events, you end up sort of like crossing and you know of each other, but sometimes you don't actually really kind of get that opportunity to connect. Yeah. And the way that it sort of came about with both of you guys was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, you were right, Pauline. It was really, really important and really crucial in timing-wise to have a little bit of an Ugg boot up my bum. And, of course, I'm shoot straight from the hip. And did they warn you? A few bleeps? Andy, have you got bleeps?
No.
Or do I just have
I'm
to go,
I'm on the show, and you don't need bleeps.
Okay, cool. But it's really good when you kind of get these women, you know, that really do support each other properly. When you know, there's all the talk, but then it's another thing to walk the walk. And so it was actually really, really great you doing that, because I knew I had to do it, and I thought, I'll get round to it. Who wants to listen to me? I mean, with all my big stories and all that kind of thing. And obviously I was on the build, and it was actually really perfect timing. And yeah, that was great. It was such a good thing. And the wonderful thing is I actually now do the same thing and call a lot of people out and say, now listen, you need to share the story, because at the end of the day, anyone can make a jacket. Anyone can get on TV. Anyone can be a coach. Anyone can be a makeup artist, whatever. You can be whatever you want to be, but that's not what people actually buy into. We've been told a million times about buying, you know, people buy people. And stories. You know, storytelling is content, and that's the way to do it.
That's right.
So, as everyone would know, and anyone who knows me, is a little bit like Pulp Fiction in 2 sentences. It actually cannot be done.
That's cool.
But, so I do admit to that. But obviously, so a really long story short, okay, I had a really crappy childhood, as you guys well know, and so there's 7 years sexual abuse by 8 perpetrators, you know, between the age of 8 and 15, left home and school at 15, 2 years high school education, dad died, left the inheritance to the ex-wife, who also has the name of on the gravestone of, you know, where I should be and my brother should be, you know, blah, 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 story.
Yeah.
And for so long, I was like, why do all these things keep happening to me, right? So left home and school at 15, wild child. 2 years later, my grandmother saw something in me that I didn't see. And this is the part where we can cut really quickly. So it was a modelling course voucher. wicked as, you know, yeah, like I really wanted one of those. So she saw past my disgusting bad behaviours and saw potential in me.
Awesome.
And it's actually a really important part of the story because she saw what I couldn't see in myself. And she's like, you're actually beautiful. I was like, oh, grandma, you know. It's like, I love Brussels sprouts about as much as I love the idea of modelling, which is not at all. And so it got me into modelling, but like any opportunity and like business, it's just an opportunity. It's a piece of paper, isn't it? With this is the opportunity. And Thomas Edison always said that that a lot of opportunity is missed because it's too much like hard work and overalls, and it's so true. So you get these opportunities and you're not doing anything with them. So when I rocked up and got my first TV commercial, and next month was my 50th birthday, May the 3rd, and it was on my birthday, my 17th birthday. Yep.
Oh, you go, girlfriend.
It's like, wicked as, I can't wait, I want grey hair, you know, I'm loving the ageing thing.
I could give you some, hang on.
Yeah, I can't see it. And I got my first modelling job, and I was like, holy moly, I'm worth $5,000 for the day to dance around in my undies. Maybe I should give up the pies. And then I got a second job and a third job, and then again, expanding. Long story short, I got the wake-up call when I had my son. I held him in my arms and I went, actually, kids are not like dogs. No matter how badly you treat them, they would always come back to you, which is what my mum used to say to me.
Yeah.
And I thought, shit needs to change, you know, and it woke me up and it broke the cycle. I decided to be the cycle breaker. And then I went and spent $40,000 in psychotherapy, cleaning up the messes that other people had made on me, and took the opportunity again to reparent myself and the asshole out of myself while I parented Isaac. And then that's when I got the call. You know, you get the call, don't you? You know, you'll be a model agent. And I'm like, whoa, it's like when my waters broke, it didn't happen to me. And then I decided to become a model agent. And I did that whole law of attraction thing by Michael Losia, Canadian LOSIER, who explains the law of attraction in a beautiful book.
Is he the preacher? Is he the church preacher?
No, that is Bob Proctor, I think, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
So Michael Losia is incredible. If it's been done, it can be done again. So I thought, well, has anyone ever been an agent? Well, then I can be an agent, right? Even though there was no such thing as a school to go to learn how to be an agent. Transpires I'm pretty good at selling people. So I got my first $10,000 bonus in 2 months, and I was like, wow, I'm really good at this business. Maybe I should do more and go harder and further. And I also had another thing. You will own your own model agency by the time you're 40. And I'm like, well, I don't know how that's going to happen because I'm about to leave my husband and I've got a 2-year-old on my hip. And again, shoot down all the voices in my head. And then I left that agency, which was JDW, which was a great, you know, sort of 2 years learning about talent more than anything else, and then went into looking after more models, and then, you know, working with Klein for 2 years, and then I eventually went to 62 for 2.5 years, and then my grandmother died and left all the inheritance to her only son left out of 3. Left. So the first one was killed as a 13-year-old by a drunk driver, and then my dad died at 35. And I thought, no one's going to do this for me. I have to do it myself. And then I went in and co-founded Red 11 Models and Talent, which is, you know, became arguably one of the most powerful model agencies in the country. And again, I was building beauty privileged people and helping them become more privileged and getting them overseas, and, you know, all of the things that go along with that. 8.5 years later, something happened that severely compromised my personal values at Red 11, and I decided to walk away, and it ended up being the day Nelson Mandela died. So it was December the 6th, New Zealand time, in 2013. And that was the hardest part, because it's like, we're now brown cow. You know, when you've been at the top of your game and 30 years in the business, starting from right down the bottom of the ladder, what you say about the ladder, Nat, I love that. I totally agree with that as well. Leave the ladder down at all times. It's like, what do I do now? So I thought, right, okay, I've got this massive chunk of crazy traumatic childhood. Like, why did those things keep, I mean, domestic violence, suicide attempts, you know, all sorts of things. How do I put that along with my wealth and sleuth of experience and travel and knowledge in the modelling industry? How do I really do some good with that? Like, how do I do that? And that was really, really hard, is to figure that out. So after a year of blackness, like the darkest I think I've ever felt until last year, and even the beginning of this year, that's when I went, okay, you know, there's a whole bunch of kids like me, like exactly what you were saying about being creative in this day and time. We are dealing with multifaceted people now, and young people as well as us as adults. No longer do we do one job and that's what we do well. We go, oh, I'm going to try that, and oh, I'm going to try that, and we expand and add to our businesses, you know, and our networks, etc. And that was the hardest part, was working out how to incorporate all of that and trying to find purpose and where do you belong. When you've been at the top of something, nobody kind of wants you because I've already been at all the agencies, you know, and that's when all of a sudden Bridge the Gap project, you know, was born with the help of a very, very dear friend along the way. And Bridge the Gap project became about helping youth help themselves, which therein lay the next problem. Right? Because it's like, don't ever do a charitable trust.
But I mean, along the way, obviously, you've learnt lots of little lessons. And what I love about it, even though you've gone through all this, I mean, the pieces speak so much, you know, from our past being, you don't talk about it, you keep it hidden. And now you're like, well, actually, no, this is who I am. And I'm going to wear that on the piece of clothing. And you know, it's almost like you're giving the power for kids and teenagers and women to be proud of what their past is and walk into their new light. And that's what I love about, you know, Heartspeak as well as Bridge the Gap.
Well, it was interesting because Heartspeak was born out of pressure. So you know when you're either challenge or solution focused, aren't you? Right? And if you are a challenge focused person that keeps looking at the challenge, then you don't allow enough room for solutions. So what happened with the charitable trust is it's like I had all this big thing, and I worked in youth. I wanted to work in youth justice. Bang, did it. I wanted to work in Auckland Women's Prison. Did a 10-week youth development course there. You know, everyone kept telling me I wasn't qualified. You know, I left school and home at 4th form, 2 years high school education. What gave me that right? But it's just like I thought, okay, how do I raise money? And I sort of literally woke up one day and went, I know. We'll embellish jackets, right? Then we can get people to tell stories onto their jackets, because the biggest challenge was a lot of people weren't going to therapists. Kids won't go to therapists. They won't engage. You can talk till the cows come home, but you know, it's like that whole, you know, show me and, you know, tell me and I forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. Yes. Right, so I love that one. I think it's Abraham Lincoln. And I thought, right, how do I involve them so that they can learn about life skills? Because I was in a position of power where I could say, well, what else is your excuse? Oh, you lost your dad. Same here. I was 15. What else have you got? Oh, did you go to his funeral? Lucky you, because I didn't. Is your name on his gravestone? Lucky you, because I'm not. What else have you got? Sexual abuse. Oh, great. 1 perpetrator or 7 like me? Was it, you know, over 8 years or how many years was it? Oh, same else. What else have you got? What else have you got? What else have you got? So I'm dealing with these really difficult, most vulnerable, at-risk young people in the country. You can't help, as Jay-Z says, you cannot heal what you do not reveal. So if you've got all the stuff in here, it's like talking to these kids at a tank, right? So that every time something happens, it's a layer upon layer upon layer. Like
oh my gosh, Sarah Lee.
Right? Do you remember
so
that?
Good. Sarah
layer
Lee
upon layer upon layer. And so then I thought, how do we get them engaged? Okay, involve me and I learn, involve me and I learn. So that's when Heartspeak was actually born. And Sarah Mitchinson and I got together and we started making these jackets, and then we sold them, and holy moly, they sold. They started selling.
I remember seeing these, like, must have been when it was still Bridge the Gap. I remember coming up to you at one of Nat's events and going, how do I get one? Like, where? And then hearing your story about it and wearing one of these tonight, I feel so amazing because of the story on it. So I'm just really excited for you that you've now found the business model that makes these accessible to be able to buy and give back. So we're all wearing the jackets tonight.
Part. You know, it was a challenge because, you know, Trade Me has its market, but what about your internationals? And this is the thing, one of the reasons I love your show is it's a think big show. It's not about, this is just New Zealand, right? So I was thinking, let's not just think about the New Zealand market. Let's how do we get people overseas involved? How do we get them into it? And in a way, it's actually branding genius, because what people are doing is they are choosing a jacket with a story that resonates for them. They're paying way more quite often for the piece than what it's actually worth per se, because the story is the one that they relate to, and so they're able to hear the story and able to share about the jacket, even though they might relate to it personally. So our pieces go, as far as Scotland and Tanzania and the Netherlands and, the US and the UK. In actual fact, I've got to be really honest here, we have way more support overseas than what we do from New Zealanders.
Why do you think that is?
Oh gosh, that is a really big question. I think New Zealand is really spoilt. I think we're really spoilt. We're particularly spoilt in Auckland as well, because we have so much access and it's so easy to get anywhere, right? So, like for example, it's like, I want to work in the prison. You shouldn't be able to walk into a prison and work at a prison, but I did. And it's not because I hustled my way in. It partially was because hustling's part of business, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, listen to me, and these are the reasons why. But it can be a little bit like, oh yeah, we'll get round to, that's just Amanda. Like Danielle Cormack is one of my dear, dear friends who's loved me as I am for years and years and years, and is one of the supporters and patrons. She's the patron of Bridge the Gap Project along with Michael Meredith. It's really easy to see these people in the street. So we kind of get, whatever. But overseas, they're like, wow, it's so great that they're thinking like this and thinking outside the square, and involving everybody. And of course, with all the social media, and again, why I'm eternally grateful, I started doing Insta stories and Facebook Lives and involving all of these people so people could get gems from everyone, as opposed to just telling your story. They're also getting life gems along the way. And it just seems to me the Americans and the Europeans in particular, they lap it up and they support you. They love the accents as well. That also helps. And I think if you use your deep, sexy phone sex voice,
when you started talking on the show tonight, I was like, oh, hello, is it you, Amanda?
We used to tease people when I was a receptionist in the years gone by. I was like, welcome to Max's Amanda speaking.
Hey, can you give us an example of a story by telling the story of this jacket so that people, get to understand a little bit more about what happened?
Actually, I think my jacket's a really good one.
Yes,
or my one in
yours,
particular. I'm actually...
Oh, yeah. You didn't know that kind of show.
While she's just taking off her jacket, for those of you guys who are watching live, if you guys got any questions for Amanda or myself or for Nat, just answer in the comments so that we're going to have 10 minutes or 10 minutes later to answer those questions. So if you've got anything about how she... Now, I just want to say, last week I was with Amanda, and she was... Natalie Cutler-Welsh came over for dinner, and they did a jacket together. And I have to say, just watching Amanda do her work was kind of fascinating. The way...
I think that means good.
No, it wasn't. It was amazing. Just the way that she put things together and the thought process on the pieces. And I captured a little bit on video, but it was... It was absolutely just beautiful to watch, just the creativity that goes into these jackets. And, you can make your own jacket with your own story, and that's what I think is so powerful.
I want to do that.
Yes,
I so want to do that.
Let's do your one.
This one's one of my favourites. So the saying my mum used to say, kids are like dogs, no matter how badly you treat them, they always come back to you. And she used to say, she used to beat the crap out of us, and we weren't allowed to answer back and all that kind of stuff. So the chained mouth actually represents the chaining of my mouth. And you've probably noticed there's a couple of little chains that have come loose, and I've left them there.
Yeah, cool.
Right, because it's not perfect. I can easily sew that back, it's easy. But I don't want to, because it is part of what happens with wear and tear. Because of course the other thing was to actually share a story that's actually really ugly and make it consumable for people to take. What do you mean? You're to talk about sexual abuse? Please don't. So this was a really good way to say that, like dogs, they are the property of no one. So property of no one is a personal slogan for me. So that actually came from a T-shirt from H&M. This actually came from a second-hand T-shirt, of which there's another chained mouth to replicate it if I want to, from Paper Bag Princess. Then the skeleton actually represents the death of my innocence and my childhood, that I was catapulted into adulthood really quickly. The lightning bolt is the wake-up call from my son when I was 30, almost 30, And I had him and I went, poof, wake up. You know, it's time to wake up, speak up, step up, and reparent myself. And the heart is actually for my ex-wife. We were together for 16 years and just broke up last year. But I just wouldn't have been able to do this without her. And I feel eternally grateful, you know, for the incredible, loving, long relationship that we had. The rose is actually from the ugliest top in the Salvation Army store. It was disgusting, but I love that
Looks
rose.
awesome now.
And that's about stopping, don't forget to stop and smell the roses. And also a rose comes away again and again and again, so you can crush it. Like I felt
So
like I was
can.
crushed. And it came away again and crushed and came away again, and they just get stronger and more
I love
powerful as the crushing of time goes on. And it happens to all of us. The pearls are actually from a Kate Sylvester top that Lisa King gave to us when we used some of it on one of her pieces, and then I took these, and these are the pearls of wisdom that my grandmother used to share with me, and being able to see things that I couldn't see, even though I knew everything. You know, what do I need a grandmother? She's so stupid, she doesn't even want to work on a microwave. But when you listen to them, they've actually got a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
The phoenix rising, I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And
That's
then over
awesome.
the front, birds
So we have to do our own jackets, P.
Yeah.
No, you can do it on sweatshirts, t-shirts, we do bags, we do
want a
cushions,
jacket.
tea towels.
Tea towel. This is my life on my tea towel.
You know, people are framing them.
Honestly,
No.
that just would crack me up.
Oh, so no, true. I won't go and do it. Well, even Richard Branson needs a tea towel. Why don't we do tea towels? Because then it goes into homewares.
Yeah.
It's not just about fashion. And next minute, one of my tea towels is in the Richard Branson event, and we sold
Get out
6
of
pieces,
here.
and it raised $5,000 for Richard
Amazing.
Branson's Virgin Unite.
Go you.
And then the birds are messengers to the heavens, so they're considered messengers to the heavens, and feathers are signs and signals. You know, you think about what you're thinking about when you'll catch yourself. When you see a feather, and different coloured feathers have different symbolism. So symbolism is a really powerful way to get these people to communicate and open, and also educate them, like about chakras and stuff like that. And like butterflies fully liquefying, for example, before they transmute into butterflies. So, you know, there's a beauty to be found in the darkness. So when you send your messengers out to the heavens, they actually literally bring heaven back onto earth through reality, which is these earrings and pearls of wisdom, and bringing heaven back onto earth so that we can do Heart Speak as a collective.
Oh, incredible. It's
And
incredible.
that's my story.
That's in a nutshell. That's actually on a jacket.
Yeah, it's all
That's
there on the
amazing.
jacket.
I just want to talk about flowers for a second. Is that all right, Pete? Like, that beautiful flower made me think of something really important. And I know it's so cliche and everyone will be like, oh, no. But, you know, like when I get a lot of women who I work with, when I coach them, they talk about, oh, you know, Nat, I'm in a saturated market, there's so many of us, and I talk about how we need to stand out. And I'll say to someone, you know, in a field of poppies, you know, a flower doesn't go and compare itself to the next poppy. It doesn't say, oh, hey, do you think I'm getting a bit tall? Do you know, a bit beautiful. So if the flowers don't compare themselves, they stand strong and they bloom. And I know that is so cliche, but it is so true. And so just that flower piece on yours, that really spoke to me. Is just to keep reminding yourself that a field of flowers, their job is to bloom, nothing else, no second guessing.
See, I really love that. I don't think that's too cliche at all. I
Yeah.
think we need to be constantly reminded of the power of symbolism,
Yes.
which is what these jackets do.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, a caterpillar, like they split their skin, so they grow to be 30,000 times the size that they are when they hatch. They split their skins, consume, which is what we do as humans. Consume, split, until they split for the final time into a chrysalis. The reason they go black is they fully liquefy. So they go into black, and we go into black throughout our lives. How many times have we all had traumatic experiences? All of us. Every single one of us has got a story, if not an encyclopedia of them, a volume of them to tell. And when you start opening up dialogue about these conversations, it beautifies something really ugly. It makes you consumable. But the other really great beauty is that it also it reminds you of your uniqueness and your individuality and how we are all here, you know, together to make things happen. And there is room for all of us if we stick to our authenticity and our unique selves and use our voice in whichever way we can. Like how you guys use your voice here, it's really important, and you're creating a platform for others to use their voice too.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Brilliant. Have you got any questions on yours? Cara,
I've been too busy listening.
I hope I say your name right, Cara.
Kanashak.
That's it.
That's my doll from San Francisco.
Oh,
Yeah, hugely supportive.
Wow, that's so awesome that she's
Hey,
tuned
San
in.
Fran.
But she's
Yeah, they
talking
woke
about.
up at 2 o'clock for this.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's all brilliant. So yeah, she's just saying that she's got a piece, and everyone should commission you to do a piece.
Yeah,
Which I
that's
totally
cool.
agree. I think it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Especially if you are a business owner, or everyone should do a piece, but I think, with branding wise, do you find, like I know you're always telling me, Pauline, get a piece that you can brand and you can wear, and I've been playing with that idea for so long, and then finally I bought a piece.
It was so amazing.
It was.
Because so what's so important to me, like what happens is these things literally open up dialogue.
Yeah.
Right? So Cara Kanashak and Tina Warren's piece is a classic example. They, the one that I did, when I met you guys, when I spoke, I had a big studded jacket.
I know.
And it had Be Still My Sacred Heart on the back, which I got embroidered by Mandy or Veronica and Me Designs in Network New Zealand. And then on the back I'd had this obi that I cut up and made into a sacred heart. And I was in Greaton. This is a classic example, right? I was in Greaton, the back house of nowhere in Tauranga. And this guy well into his 60s going, I like your jacket. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And I designed it myself. And I turned my back to him straight away. And he just it was so tactile. I just said, just touch it. And he put his hand down my back, right, with this obi. And then I said, it's actually my story on it. And he said, it'll be still my sacred heart. And I went, yeah, it's actually about my difficult experience. So all the studs represent my difficult experiences, because I was sexually abused for 7 years by 8 perpetrators between the age of 8 and 15. And you could just hear him go quiet, right? And he goes, And I said, yeah, there's a whole lot more other stuff. And, but at the end of the day, that I've survived my tough experiences, and now I help other people in their tough experiences. And he said, my mother got sexually abused. And he said, if we had have known that she was sexually abused, we would have been able to understand so much about her that we couldn't understand, and now she's gone. And I was like, oh yeah, so it's actually a branding opportunity, because you get to share your story, whichever version you want to write.
Yeah.
And it's actually branding gold, because if I came up to you and didn't know you and say, I love your jacket, say, thank you so much, I designed it myself.
Thank you. I designed this myself. Hey,
Oh,
I
you
designed
did?
this.
Wow.
Yes, it tells my story. Touch it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so what do the studs represent?
Yeah, you can totally see, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
coming in to have one.
Yeah, so they do. They literally open up dialogue,
Yeah.
and instead of talking about our crazy stormy weather, as crazy as that was, you're actually talking about what you do. So it becomes more about who you are, which is actually branding gold, as opposed to what you do.
Yeah.
My big piece of advice is the big mistake that people make, and I've said it a gazillion times, and I'll say it again right now for anyone who's missed out. Never, ever, ever ask someone what they do. Ever. Okay? Because how do you know that they weren't like me in that period when I was so dark, right, not working, okay, trying to figure it out? I could be sweeping floors right now, but I have a dream to do Heartspeak. I have a dream to bring people together.
Yeah, right. So
whatever.
ask a better question.
Right? What brings you to this event?
Yeah.
Or with these jackets, makes it really easy. Wow, your jacket's amazing.
Yeah. It's a good
Right?
talking
And,
piece.
and another little great
I
piece
think
of
it's
advice.
a habit, people, it's just one of those
It
things.
is such a stinky habit. I do all the time.
Yeah. What do you do?
When you say what do you do, you're immediately like, it's almost like, what do you do? And I'm going to make a decision as to whether you're good enough to carry on speaking with. But if you say something like, I always sort of say, what brings you to this event? Then you can find out whether it's Pauline speaking, or Nat speaking, or Amanda speaking, or because Natalie Cutler-Welch invited me, or so-and-so who's got business, and you can find out about them. Get people, if you really want to do well in business, get people talking about themselves.
So tell us about, because you've got to where you've got now through another journey. That's another jacket.
Yeah, I was like,
But let's talk about, because collaboration's really, really a big thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like Pauline and I are collaborating. We've also collaborated with like 3 other business coaches to do stuff. So I'd like to hear your tips and your stories around collaboration.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good point that you guys brought up, to say, hey, we want to discuss this.
Yeah.
Collaboration is really, we all know it. Yeah, we need to collaborate. It's like we are now coming into a time as far as planetary energy and everything is concerned, and I really don't care what people think about me saying that. It is a really important time to step into feminine energy. Now, that's not meaning as a woman. That means as men, we've all got feminine and masculine energies to us. And it's like the whole idea is feminine energy is about the nurturing of each other. So let's say, for example, we're sitting at a table together like this, and I bring caviar, and I'm like, well, I'm bringing caviar, so I'm so fabulous.
You can come to the party.
You can come to the party because you're bringing caviar. But at the end of the day, my favourite food's actually potatoes. Okay, I love potatoes and I love eggs as well, but potatoes. Now, potatoes are wonderful, but not on their own. So if I'm bringing potatoes and then you're bringing salt, well, I'm going to put a lot of value on your salt, right? Now, I'm not going to sit there and go, well, I've brought so many potatoes and the caviar. You need to bring the equal equivalent to salt, which is where people get tripped up in business and collaborations. But then also with salt is butter. Right, so you're the butter person. So you bring the butter, you bring the pepper. You don't sit there and measure how much each person is bringing in.
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a great point.
Isn't it? It's like sitting at a table
Be the cheese
together.
to my cracker.
Yeah, exactly.
The cheese to my cracker.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, it doesn't matter that cheese is more expensive than crackers. No. If you're going to put a value on that, then you can sit at your table with your caviar on your own. Collaboration, when you collaborate, we've got 3 massive personalities here. You know, people often said that I would clash with Sarah Tetro. She's a really amazing, strong personality. We didn't clash. She was the boss and I was not. Right? So it was that simple. In this particular case, this is your show. I am fortunate enough to be your guest, and we're collaborating together in other ways.
That means a mutual respect, though, right? When you're
a mutual respect is really important.
You flow.
And values.
Yeah.
It's all about values and philosophies. And you guys hit it on the head when we first started, when we said leave the ladder down, right? Yep. So I work with people who leave the ladder down. If you're not the kind of person, if you're too ego-based, I will not work with you. And when you're doing collaborations, it's absolutely fine. Thank goodness for egos, because imagine I would be lazy as sin and look like a dog if I walked out. If people really knew, I pull out my hair every now and then for fun and shock everybody. They're like, whoa, you're prepared to look like that. In public, I was like, yeah, man, I'll pull my hair out right now and float it around and look like a flock of seagulls. No worries, because my ego is parked.
Yes.
Right? And so when you're working, so you want to find people who have the same values as you. They have the same passions as you. So you guys don't need to be supporting youth, but you support people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't have a tendency to, for example, super collaborate on people who only like animals and have no care for humans. Because get this, we can't fix the animals until we fix the humans.
Yeah.
And I said to someone today, she said, well, if these kind of people aren't going to be interested, they're not really the kind of people that I want. And I said, honey, we're not here to put more light on the awake ones. We're here to shine light on the asleep ones.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right, and I think that's a really important thing to remember in business. How do you help the people who are asleep? Because the people who are awake don't need more help in the light. It's the people who are fumbling around in the dark. That's where we have to shine our light. So sometimes we have to collaborate with people to help them out of the dark, because we can see the potential in them to be able to do great things.
So how are you doing that on a practical level with Heartspeak and Bridge the Gap? So how are you wake up? How are you waking these people up?
Doing exactly these kind of things.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did another Facebook Live today about coercion identification.
I'm sorry, what?
Coercion.
Just going to get my dictionary.
Yeah, coercion's a really good one. Coercion's another form of violation. So it's basically, there are so many people that have been coerced.
Right.
And, which actually is rape, because I'm an ambassador for the US Project, which is 50 voices and faces about sexual abuse and violation. I know, ugly, eh? So if you want to, you can actually just look at this story here on the back here, and that's actually about sexual violation, rape and sexual abuse. Not that you'd know it, see?
No, you wouldn't.
I think it's like getting a really good team of people together, getting sewers together, and it's also like even doing things like Pauline fell in love with this kimono that we just absolutely love, and she just put it on, and I was like,
you loved it.
It found its right home. It found its correct home.
It was so crazy. I've had to a few people ask me, what did I buy? Let me just tell you the story quickly.
Yeah.
So I was house sitting in Sandringham.
Crazy story.
And It's an Airbnb, and Megan walked in, and I was like, oh, I know you. And she'd flown in from Melbourne, and she's like, oh my gosh, Pauline, I saw you speak, and rah, rah. And then she's like, Amanda Betts lives around the corner. I was like, you kidding? I've been here 5 days, and I didn't even know that. So we had this big dinner with Amanda and Natalie Cutler-Welsh and Megan, and we were making some Heart Speaks. And then she bought...
You forgot to invite me.
Okay, it was the wrong Natalie.
I'm
so joking.
So Natalie and Amanda
so
made this amazing piece. It was so beautiful to watch Amanda in her genius. I'll just say, you were in your genius, and you were just putting it together, and it was just so. It was like you were vibrating at a high level. I know that sounds so weird, but it was not that type of vibe.
I'm always that person who joins. I'm glad you did too.
Did you giggle like... I just had to giggle.
Everyone's loving that comment. But it was just so beautiful to watch. Anyway, she had all these other jackets, and she was like, oh, Pauline, try this on. And of course, the first thing I say, oh, they won't fit me.
Oh,
anyway, so I tried on this jacket, and I was like, everyone just went really quiet. And they're like, that looks really good on you. And I was like, this fits, this looks good on me. And I went and looked in the mirror, and I was just like, oh my God, this is my jacket. And then I was like, creeped out. This is it.
Don't you make me cry.
It was so
special.
Beautiful, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I just have to have it. So I bought it.
It was so beautiful, and it's such a beautiful piece as well. And you're right.
And it looks so cool.
It does. It looks amazing. I was just like, it made me take my breath. And this is the thing. Heartspeak, they find their homes, and people, and when they put the jackets on, we have to have boxes of tissues all the time because people just surrender to us, and they let their stories out, and then they've got this legacy piece. And the other great thing, I mean, look at Nat. Nat always goes, do what you love, do what you love, do what you love. And we found a jacket that says "do what you love" on it.
Was one of the jackets.
That's crazy.
But see, that's how I roll.
Yeah.
And I think what's really important with this is these go online, right? And we sell them on an international platform. It's called Buddy Bid. We've got another auction coming up soon. We're just building pieces at different price points because we didn't want Heartspeak to be only something that you could afford if you were wealthy. So what we do with the proceeds is we basically buy more resources and programs. We do transformational photo shoots for people because once you've seen yourself look amazing, no one can steal, hustle or violate it away from you.
Yeah.
We also do, they get to make their own jackets. We also do restorative justice with the resin art programs where they pour their stories onto a plate, and then they give it to their social workers, caregivers, or their whānau. And it's like, again, excuse me, I know a frog in my throat. I never
Is there
thought.
water there? Have you got water? Have you run out?
I've just about run out.
Oh, yeah, awesome. We can fill it up.
Oh my gosh, a little bit like God. Right, a bit more in there. Is that mine? Oh, look, it is. No.
Secret stash.
It's a secret stash.
Only on our show.
But I think the other thing too is that the practicalities are sometimes challenging, but all the proceeds go into just more programs for more young people. And I've had 2 week supervision, court ordered 2 week supervision, 24/7 activity orders, and that's actually a real compliment because I'm really starting to make headway into that legal and justice system, because the reason that a lot of these kids are doing the things that they're doing is because they're kids like me. But the other part is that what's happening is like when Pauline, you bought that kimono, for example, that pays for a young person to get on a program.
You see, so at that point, right? So if someone likes to see something and wants to go and buy that jacket, and then their proceeds to go, how do we do that? Where do people go?
Well, this is the cool thing. Like, say, for example, if you love that piece, we can duplicate that, but no two pieces are the same. So nobody can steal Heartspeak. It's great because I go, hold on, I know how, I know who that went to. But we could actually replicate that, but you might choose the word strength, or you might choose the word love or trust or respect or whatever. Or you could say, hey, I love that jacket, I want to buy that one. So it goes online. But also the big thing is really watch out on the Facebook. On our Facebook and Instagram, because there's a lot of lives that we're doing, and we're going to be telling a lot more of the stories. Plus, I'm about to start a Give a Little page. So we were going to do it today, but there were a few other more important things that kind of got in the way. But we're doing a Give a Little page to raise funds, and I want to say I've touched thousands of people in their lives through their careers, built their bank accounts, sent them traveling, like thousands and thousands of people. And I'm actually really surprised that no one in the fashion industry has stepped forward to help. It's like, wow, you guys know I helped you when you guys were starting out as designers or photographers or stylists or makeup artists or whatever, models, and I built you and I contributed to helping you grow and I coached you. You know what it's like to be with me. Now I'm doing that for people who can't afford it, to people who aren't beauty privileged, tall, skinny and pretty like you are, or have the connections or the networks, or people like me, you know, pushing and driving you, and you haven't stepped forward. So I thought, right, you know what, screw it. I'm going to ask. Because clearly stepping forward, expecting or hoping that people out of the goodness of their hearts go, man, that woman was amazing. She was intense, she was full on, she gave it to me straight.
Well, there's a couple of people who have pretty much backed that up on here.
Oh.
So my dear friend Nikki Davidson, hi girls and Amanda, we met at a cafe I was working at a couple of years ago. You said some insightful things which have encouraged me to step up and take on creative projects.
Oh no.
I believe in always leaving a little salt on the bread. I've been disappointed lately applying for jobs with some high-profile companies who don't respond and further communications. It does make me lose respect for them. And I know that Nikki was really excited about you coming on tonight.
Oh yeah, no, she
See,
definitely
I love
was.
that because I give people information, you know, I get channels through, right? And I just say, what are you doing just doing this, you know, for example, and really encouraging people to go and be their more fuller selves, to take the risk, to get themselves out there, to get visibility. You know, this is Heart Speak is driven by people getting visibility, right? So they get seen, they get dialogue. Like I just love, so I said to Pauline, borrow whatever you want because she's a perfect ambassador for me. She's really passionate about other parts of what she's doing. You know,
we talked about ego.
But she's, you know, and she's up there and she's speaking and she's being honest and it's a great chance for people to go up to her and say, I love your piece. And she go, thank you so much. You know, my friend made it and this is the reason that I love it. And she can talk about what she does with people who don't know. And it just gives you a chance to expand your business without flogging. Looking like you're flogging.
So someone else has said that Sophie Stevenson, I heard Amanda at a movie screening about body confidence maybe a year ago in
Tauranga.
In Tauranga. Thank you, because I was like TGA, like what's that? What a vibrant and knowlegible soul. I even remember her from her Bend On days as a model on telly. Honest, vulnerable, and speaks with heart.
Oh,
so I think this is what I love about Amanda is Amanda's just squirreling away, working at what she's doing, and this is us helping put the ladder down. We all know that Amanda's doing a great thing, so I think all of us need to come down and get together and help her on her venture. So maybe it's either we work out and we do a workshop with a whole lot of jackets and get some jackets made, or you guys donate so that she can put these children through programs. So I think over the next few days, if you guys are really interested, comment on either of Nat's page or my page in the lives. Let us know, and we will organise to do some sort of get together or put some money together to help, because seriously, the work that she does is amazing. And just from me personally, with my upbringing, I don't talk about my upbringing very much, but if Amanda had come into my life maybe 10 years ago, my whole life would have probably been different, right? You know, to have someone let me have my voice, because I never had my voice.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's so true.
That's
true.
Stop it. Andy, we need tissues over here.
But I mean, it's, you know, you were taught to be quiet. You're taught not to tell. And here you are just going, you know what, this happened. This is my story and I'm okay with it. And I am there now. I'm not ashamed of my past. I'm actually glad it happened, because I wouldn't be who I am without it. And to wear that on my back, or to design a piece where I'm proud. Obviously, I wear my colour in my hair. It's sort of a little fuck you to everyone. You know, how dare you? Why do you wear your hair that colour? Well, why not? You know, why can't I? This is how I express myself, my creativity. And you know, it's people like you that help us who are lost to find that, and I think it's really important. So everyone who's watching on the replay or the live, comment if you want to get involved. This wasn't planned. I've just decided this is what we're going to do, and if we can everyone donate $5, maybe we could help a child who's struggling to find their voice, and that's what we should do.
Thank you.
Let's talk about, because that's a nice segue into social responsibility.
It's a biggie.
You would like to talk about that?
I think it's a really important one. I love that you've actually brought that subject up as well, because the thing is, like, I don't know how many of you know, but I'm going to say it as it is. You know, when you are looking for a job, like Nikki's looking for a job, we all know that, and it's becoming less and less, but, the first thing they look at is the CV, isn't it? Right? And we've got around about 7 seconds, okay, to kind of go, I'm worth looking at. That's pretty hard, right? So you can't actually judge according to that because it's 7 seconds, right? The next part that they're going to go to, we know where they go. Right, straight onto social media. Yeah. So if you think you don't need to do social media, wrong, you really do. The more visible you are, then the more you can do, right? And it's like, as I said, I'm 50 next month, and what I do know for certain is that I had a great job. I travelled the world all the time. I had all my insurances and everything covered, and worked my butt off. And this legacy that I had created that I thought would feed my son and everything like that for me, to give what I had missed out on in any form of legacy was actually robbed from me. Really, but again, it was kind of, I guess it's kind of good that it did happen. I'm still recovering from it. I haven't recovered from it financially at all, but what I have done is I've followed, my purpose, because the next part that they look at, right? So if someone's going to look and Google me, by the way, you can Google me. I'm really proud of that. There's pages upon pages upon pages of me with this story, that story, that story. And I'm in a really powerful position as well, right, where I can speak and I can be honest. I don't have to be held back by my workmates or my parents or, my family or friends or what they might think about me. Yeah. Like I was like, I don't think you should do this story because it is airing out your dirty laundry. And I just couldn't believe it when this man said this to me. It's like, it's not dirty laundry. It's inspirational. And it's like, well, what will the clients think? And I was like, I don't give a rat's ass what the clients think. If the clients think that I'm disgusting because of what happened to me, then they're not the kind of clients that I want. Yeah. And I was so disgusted that I was confronted with that, but it ended up being, fuel for my fire. Because the next part that they look at after that, after your social media, is what do you stand for? Right? I don't care how good you are at what you do. If you don't give a rat's bum about anything, I'm not interested. Yeah. And I might have a person that doesn't have the glossy website or the glossy and the amazing content because that's not their strength. Maybe they don't have the money to get it. But when I can see their heart and what they stand for, I can see their philosophies. I can see, what's important to them, what drives them there. As Simon Sinek knows your why. As he says, know your why. When you see what they stand for, that's what separates you from others. There's 3 forms of karma. One is karma to get something back. The second is karma because you're afraid that you might lose something, because, I better give to that homeless man because, otherwise I might lose my nice home. And then the third karma is karma without attachment to outcome. And that's what social responsibility is. It's like, I am passionate about people that have suffered sexual assault. I'm abuse. I'm passionate about domestic violence. I'm passionate. You can see everything that I'm passionate about. So this is an opportunity for people to express their social responsibility, still with making it consumable, but also having a really cool piece that is uniquely yours.
Yeah.
Social responsibility is really important in business, and not just because we better do something, because otherwise, our competitors will look better than us. You
do it for reasons, and actually just hearing you say that is it's this like. Yeah, even though, we're one-man bands, we still are like, we want to be socially responsible because that's the values that we're bringing in. So it's really
is. It's actually expressing your values, right? Yeah. So it's like, as I was saying to someone today, and I was using us as an example as well, we're planting seeds. The wise man plants seeds to a forest whose shade he knows he will never rest under. And you know what? It's really easy to kind of think, look at me planting seeds to a forest whose shade I will never rest under. But guys, some of has did it before you.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
a whole lot of beautiful paths built for us. There's a whole lot of forests that we go to, paths that we walk around, buildings that we look at, that have all been done way before we were on this planet, in this lifetime. So it's really important that we continue, that together as a collective. We no longer have to do it on our own anymore and be a pioneer that's alone. Say pioneers get all the arrows, settlers get all the land. It's time for us all to be pioneers together. Then the arrows don't hurt so much.
Not when you have this jacket on.
Yeah, you can't get too
It's
close.
so powerful.
So this is an interesting question. Has Amanda ever worked with Sally Anderson, the
That is a really interesting
or
question.
know her work?
Or know who
Yes,
we're-
I actually had the pleasure of attending one of Sally's weekend workshops.
Oh, cool.
And it was a really interesting experience because obviously she has a really massive story.
Yeah.
And it really fascinated me because, of course, I deal with a lot of people from gangs who have parents in gangs, etc. Because working with care and protection and youth justice, Oranga Tamariki, which of course used to be Child, Youth and Family, do a lot of inspirational speaking at various places and all sorts of things. So I did her weekend workshop and I actually found it and her really fascinating, and I thought her ability to drill down was absolutely incredible. There are certain things in the way that through my experiences that I do very, very differently, in the sense of what happens when we unravel people. You kind of can't, when you take them apart, you actually have to be so aware of how you put them back together, and the ability that Sally has to kind of drill down and get to the honest truth of yourself is nothing short of extraordinary.
She's
to me.
definitely
Wow,
amazing
that
now.
blows me away.
I just love how
definitely.
she's used her experiences to open people up, and I think that's a really important thing.
How did it get to 9 o'clock?
I know.
Seriously,
Did it
that-
already?
I
like,
know.
Damn.
It goes really quick.
it's like
Tonight's show has been so great. Obviously,
Thanks,
the
viewers.
fact that Married with, what is it called? Married at First Sight is over because now you guys are all watching us again. Hello, thank you. First off, before we end the show, I want to thank Amanda for coming on board. It is a bit
it's
of a
amazing.
drive to come up to the good old Orewa, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And also, just before we end the show tonight, you have some exciting things happening with your business, but you haven't really talked about it.
yes.
So let's
Thank
just
you.
go
Thanks,
a
team.
little over 9.
We always forget to promote our own businesses.
Yeah, you have to.
So what I loved about what you talked about tonight about at the moment the universe wanting us to go more into our feminine, and I was talking about how I have this pull to go back to the in-person help. So I do heaps of one-on-one coaching because I love being around people, but I also have coming up, Andy, this is your cue. I launched this back, Andy. I launched this back in January. It's my 6-figure sales program. And interesting, you talked about ego because I didn't want to call it that. I called it the 28 days, the 28 ways with Nat. It's like, don't be a dick.
That.
I know, but I'm sharing how I was able to take the business to 6 figures just by myself. And I'm like, I want to be able to share people. Say, hey, this is how I did it. So I'm relaunching in 1st of May, so the kids will be back at school. No frickin' excuses, people. And you get to spend 28 days with me, Ugg boot kicking your butt and giving you practical advice. And I'd love to have as many of you guys on there. And just, wanted to do a little bit of promotion to the biz tonight.
So
thanks.
how can they sign up? Can they message you on the page? Or keep track?
Yeah, so message me on the page at Keep Track, pretty much at 9:30 scheduled post going out as the official launch tonight. But I'm pretty much going to be in your face for about 2 weeks. In your face more than I normally am for the next 2 weeks, getting it out there because it's probably one of the best programs that I've written. It's straight from the heart. There's, most of you who do follow me, who are on my page, know that social media highlight reels drive me nuts. There's a lot of lies on social media. There's a lot of comparing. There's people who think they're frauds. There's just so much happening in social media, and so I want to be that truth speaker. I want to be that proof that if I can do this, then far out, so can you. And That's me.
I love that.
Thank you.
And I've already had Candice jump on saying she's in.
Yeah, Candice came off the back of a webinar today. I said, go Candice.
Yay.
Thank you.
And the other thing, just to let you know, next week we're taking another break, but next week is our last show for a break over the school holidays because I am flying out to South America.
Beep, beep.
On
That's the beep.
Saturday next week.
It's exciting, Pete.
So freaked out.
We have a cool guest for next week, guys.
Yes, we have a cool
cooler
guest.
than me?
No. No one's ever cooler than the guest who's just been.
All our guests are brilliant. But so next week we've got a new guest, and then we're taking a 2-week break, and then Nat will be back without me, so she'll have guests until I come back. But I will be videoing in from wherever I am. I don't know where I'll be.
I have a feeling it's going to be more like a comedy show while P's away.
Yeah. I think they'll be getting up to travel. I'll be like, hey, do you guys miss me? And they're like, they won't remember who I am. So it'll be like a bit like that. Thank you guys once again for joining us. Those on the replay, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with you guys next time.
See you later.
See ya.
Thank you,
Bye.
thank you.
Oh, we didn't stand up and show our little thingies.
Oh,
Maybe we're still on, Andy.
it's like we're shaking it and shaking it.
This will be the one that will go out to millions of people and we were just shaking our booties.
Just shaking our booty.